MetaZoo marketplace has been making some pretty serious moves. We've got some supply and demand patterns coming into play. We have products that have been going up, products that have been going down, heading into the 5th core set release seance dropping just around the corner in October. This is everything you need to know about the state of the MetaZoo market heading out of August 2022. Let's go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Argos Anonymous. I am Argos. If you have stumbled across this channel from somewhere out there in the interweb, you know what we are. Consider joining us. Why not? We are everything MetaZoo. Up-to-date accurate news and information, product reviews, crazy shenanigans, swashbuckling live sales, market updates, news alerts, all kinds of crazy random stuff. If that sounds like something you would like, then subscribe. That's what you'll get. What a summer, not just for MetaZoo, but for so many things. We have seen the meteoric rise of the last few years has been met with a similarly meteoric crash into the planet's surface for a lot of collectibles, NFTs, baseball cards, fine art, cryptocurrency. MetaZoo is certainly not exempt from that. We're going to look at a lot of sealed products on a set-by-set basis. We're going to look at some high-end sealed things, talk about where things are right now and some patterns that are starting to come out, helping us decide where things might go in the future. Now, this decline in prices comes despite a growing MetaZoo fan base. Something that I've noticed since I operate an online store. I've noticed progressively increasing traffic to the website. I've noticed an increasing number of people buying MetaZoo, but an overall decrease in the size of the purchases, which to me indicates you have a player base and a fan base, a collector base in MetaZoo that's been progressively increasing, and yet people are spending less money, which is probably a reflection of this sort of inflationary recession that's been going on. So that is still the case. Like, people are still kind of penny pinched, but what I have been noticing is into the MetaZoo Discord and many of the other Discords, like my own Oasis Discord, which is I think a premier secondary market Discord. Go ahead and check that out, link in the description. There's no fees or anything, it's public, it's open, just coming in, tons of marketplace stuff. All over the place, we're seeing a lot of new people find MetaZoo, and I think this is the result of MetaZoo getting it out there into more big box stores. So a few weeks ago, MetaZoo landed in Target, in addition to Walmart. It's now in Barnes & Noble as well. You can find theme deck products, stuff like that. The Target blister is actually really cool. Here it is. You see, you get 3 packs, you have a coin, they have like a promo with Smokey the Bear. This is the cool thing. Like, if you see this on the shelf in Target, you might take a look. And we're noticing that people are coming into the Discord and they're like, look, I just saw this in Target, bought a pack, looks really cool, what is this? So I mean, MetaZoo's outreach is definitely bringing in the fans, but that has not stopped the decline in so many different areas of the MetaZoo marketplace. And so we're going to talk about that and talk about what it means in the context of an increasing fan base, which is a good fundamental sign for MetaZoo, but we'll have to figure out where the decline is going to turn around if we're going to make some big important market moves. First, with Kickstarter. Kickstarter was, of course, the first release of the Cryptonation base set. Kickstarter booster boxes as a primary barometer for the MetaZoo marketplace peaked at approximately $11,000 in the fall of 2021, and we have now seen boxes come all the way back down to between $3,800 and $4,500 over the last couple of months, which is a major decline. But keep in mind, these Kickstarter boxes were only like $60 to $80 when they first came out, which was a year and a half ago. So from $60 to $80 to $11,000 to $3,800 is a roller coaster, and I don't know that we've seen the bottom yet. Here's the problem. Let's say that the broad market, so these high-end items, they pull back when money's being sucked out of the system. And right now we're seeing a decline in a lot of areas. Real estate has started to roll over, crypto's been going down, stock's been going down, money's been pulled out of the system. And so money's been pulled out of the Kickstarter marketplace as well. We've seen probably a 50 to 60% on average decline in all Kickstarter sealed products and all Kickstarter singles. Some singles have even taken a lot higher hit than that, including PSA 10, Kickstarter, Mothman, all those things taking a massive hit. My concern with Kickstarter is that even though lately it seems to have found its footing, it seems to have found a bit of a floor, it's even recovered a little bit from, I think, an all-time low of packs were selling for darn near $100 a pack for a couple of weeks, and now they've gone back up to $125, $130, maybe even $140 on some marketplaces, and that's a good sign. But the way markets tend to fall is they don't tend to fall all at once. They tend to fall for a while, and then they kind of like step back up. They go back up the escalator a little bit, and then they fall again. And so if if MetaZoo markets follow that similar pattern where the broad market declines will influence these high-end Kickstarter things. I think the best case scenario for Kickstarter is we get a little bit of a reprieve, and then when the rest of the market, if, and I personally will, if the rest of the market, the crypto and stocks and all sort of stuff rolls over another time, then it is unlikely to have a positive effect on Kickstarter. It doesn't mean Kickstarter is going to crash, you know, much more, right? But I do think it will limit the gains in Kickstarter. So if you're planning on picking up some sealed Kickstarter for your collection, you know, prices have come down quite a bit, but I personally don't feel like there's a super big rush to go out there and get it right this moment. You know, I think it's a great pickup. It's a great long-term pickup. If you don't care about short-term mumbo jumbo, you just want to put it on the shelf and bury it for like a fun, awesome, you know, early dawn of MetaZoo collector's item and investment, secondary, you know, alternate investment, then go ahead and do it, right? But I mean, if you're playing the markets and playing the bounces, we might have another rollover, which could give you another chance to soak something up. Raw full hollow Kickstarter Mothman peaked at around $2,000 to $2,400 per card last fall, and we've now been seeing them go for less than $1,000. Again, keeping in line with the sealed product, a lot of the raw Kickstarter cards are down at least 50 to 60%. Some of them are even down 70. Some are even down as much as 80%. Similarly, Cryptonation first edition booster boxes, these are the boxes that came out July 31st, 2021, have also seen approximately a 60% decline, 50% decline in value. These boxes peaked at around $1,100 and are now selling for between, on the low end for like a beat up box, you can get it maybe $400, but on the higher end for an Oyster box, $475, maybe $500. You're bouncing around that range, and it has, for at least for now, it has found a floor. A lot of people have been buying it. The sales pressure has been letting off a little bit, but that came with stabilization and a rebound in stocks and crypto. Once again, feeding the hypothesis that the broad market actually has quite a lot to do with these high-end items. And so the real issue, the real question, in my opinion, is not, you know, exactly just what will first edition Cryptonation and Kickstarter do. It's watching the broad markets for a rollover or recovery. Personally, I think the fundamental, you know, situation in the United States hasn't changed a whole lot for me to think that like that was it, shortest bear market in history. No, I think we're going to roll over a little bit more. So you probably have time. It's a wonderful pickup long term, but I think you have some time. Cryptonation second edition has been taking a, for those of you who don't know, the print run of Cryptonation first edition booster boxes was 25,000 booster boxes. And then some of the other ancillary products in first edition were printed even less. So Cryptonation first edition spell books, for example, were printed, they printed 10,000 of those. So in Cryptonation second edition, there was a much higher volume released. The United States print run for Cryptonation second edition was 62,500 units per SKU, right? So not only did they increase the number of booster boxes from 25,000 to 62,500, they increased spell books, for example, from 10,000 to 62,500. They did this because at the time, Cryptonation first edition booster boxes were like $1,000. So nobody could get the base set product. There's all these people who wanted MetaZoo, all these people who wanted to get into it, and you couldn't touch the boxes. So MetaZoo did what MetaZoo thought was going to get it into the hands of a lot of people, and it did, you know. But what we saw was, because Cryptonation second edition came out during a time of peak MetaZoo FOMO in the fall of 2021, when everything was selling out, everyone was guaranteed free tendies on everything you touched, a lot of stores way over ordered it, and a lot of these stores hadn't even spent any time building MetaZoo communities or player bases, so they didn't actually have any customer base for MetaZoo outside of people scouring the internet, desperately searching for anything they could find. So what happened was you had a bunch of stores order this stuff, hoping it was going to go to the moon, and then when it didn't, Panic at the Disco, the cycle of dumping begins. And now here we are in a time of economic stress for a lot of these stores, and if they're still sitting on a case, 2 cases of Cryptonation second edition, they're underwater, because these boxes are selling for less than $60 on the secondary market, and that is more than 10% below the cheapest, and even 20-25% below the more expensive wholesale cost of the box. So any store that is selling them online for $70 or less before taxes and fees, which is crazy, they're taking a bath right now. And so they're only selling because you know, one of two things. Like, I think they see it going down and they don't want it. They're worried it's going to go down lower, and they just need the cash or they get out. Or no matter what they feel, they just need the cash. And they want to get out, and they're stuck. You know, and they probably didn't have enough of a MetaZoo player base or MetaZoo community to have ordered what they did. They were just chasing the FOMO, and now they're taking a bath. A couple of stores though recently liquidated a very large volume of Kryptonation Second Edition, and it all sold out. So just because the price is low, what's interesting about Second Edition is the buying volume has actually been fairly robust. For example, Trading Card World recently came out and sold about, I think it was like 500 boxes or something of Cryptonation Second Edition booster boxes, and the whole thing sold out in like 3 days. And then Gamer Nerds is another store, or Game Nerds, whatever it is. They came out and sold about 450 Cryptonation Second Edition booster boxes at $50, which is crazy liquidation. And the whole thing sold out in a couple of days. If you go to TCG Player, what you're seeing is, even though the price is low and a lot of these stores, there's a lot of sales volume coming in. These stores are competing against each other, driving the price lower and lower and lower. You are still seeing buying, you know, 10 boxes a day, 12 boxes a day, 7 boxes a day. Every day you have another click, 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 click as new people come into MetaZoo or people decide to pick it up. And I just think it's a challenging product because of how it rolled out, because there was so much FOMO and so much over ordering by stores. And then when, especially as Cryptonation first edition price came down, and then the recession hit as well, putting more pressure on stores to sell and reducing the buying power of the fan base, it's the perfect storm for Cryptonation second edition, and we're going to talk about this, and Wilderness to wash out. And it's going to take time to soak with the volume. It doesn't matter that it is, in my opinion, a long-term good pickup, because it's a base set and it's super, super cheap for MetaZoo. For as long as MetaZoo continues to do well, eventually that will turn around, because there's too much of it right now. And so the price isn't going to go anywhere. There's too much of it. And so it's not going to go anywhere until the volume is chewed up. But the volume will get chewed up because buying is still robust and a lot of new people are still coming into MetaZoo. And when it does get chewed up, then it can eventually rise back up to what I would call a steady state. The steady state is where it's still available from distribution, but it's available at, say, $70 to $77. And so then these stores are going to be ordering as much as they can from distribution, even if it's like a zero margin sale. This is just how the system works. It's super broken. They're going to order as much as they can to increase their spend with that distributor, and then they're going to sell those boxes for near distribution cost, so they about break even. So I would expect once the volume eventually gets chewed up, you can expect those boxes to raise back up to like $70 to $80 for a while, as long as it's available at distribution. That's the saga of Cryptonation second edition. Of note lately, despite that I don't know how long this is going to take, I have been a buyer of Cryptonation second edition in the $45 to $50 range. I've been picking up when I see those for $45 to $50, especially if I can get it from sites that don't charge me tax and that throw in free shipping. I buy them, and I'm not really being very delicate. Nightfall. Let's talk about Nightfall. Nightfall also in decline. So Nightfall, 40,000 Nightfall booster boxes, or 40,000 of each SKU, was produced in the United States, and 10,000 of each SKU was sent overseas for Nightfall, right? Nightfall held above $200 a box for a long time. And then in the spring, when like everything started to go down, so too did Nightfall. And so more recently, Nightfall has finally fallen below MSRP, and you can find it online for between $125 $135 a booster box, and in some bundles from some like larger players who are just kind of like liquidating, not just MetaZoo, but like Pokemon and MTG sets and just all kinds of stuff into the face of this recession. You can get it for even cheaper than that. So the issue with Nightfall was it was starting to really dry up, and then some distributors that were sitting on leftover product, they came out and they just like released another wave of it. So probably what happened is distributors held back some Nightfall, hoping that it would keep going up, and then the financial situation, everything changed and it started going down, and now they're like letting it go in bundles. They're opening it back. Oh, we found 10 more cases of that, you know, and so it shows up on the website, and then that volume goes out into the marketplace, and boom, that's why you're seeing the theme decks go down, release event boxes go down. That's why you're seeing those going down, and the booster boxes as well. So the question with Nightfall is, how much more is left at the distributor level that they have to get rid of, and you also have the by the time Nightfall came around, there was peak FOMO, and so a lot of stores just like bought it and just held stacks of cases of Nightfall, hoping it was going to go to $1,000, and now they're looking around and it keeps going down, and they're starting to dump it onto the market. I am very bullish about Nightfall longer term, but again, I mean, it's the supply is there, the buying demand is there, but the supply is still there. And if we're still in a fundamental backdrop of like stressful economic conditions, I just think your gains are going to be limited. That said, I have been buying Nightfall at 120 to 125 per booster box, and I have not been very shy about it. I don't know. I mean, could it go lower than that? I guess so, but I don't see it going too much lower than that. So I'm comfortable picking it up at that level and then just waiting out the broad market conditions until the stocks and crypto and everything else is kind of like bottomed and is ready to turn around. I think that is when you'll start to see some more improvement in the pricing of some of these MetaZoo items. Wilderness has also been a little bit painful. So Wilderness is sitting on the open market at $65 to $70 per booster box, maybe $65 to $75. Similarly, you had a lot of retailers heading into Wilderness that thought it was going to be like Nightfall. So they dramatically over ordered Wilderness, and then the economy was like, boom, right? And so they're taking a bath right now. So a lot of retailers are selling Wilderness at below cost, and they're losing a little bit, not a lot, but like a little bit of money on it. There's a lot of Wilderness out there. So I would say Wilderness, great set, really fun set. It isn't to say I don't love it. I love the golden ticket idea. It's super fun. People are definitely opening it. People loved Wilderness. It got in the hands of a lot of players, diversified the meta. Great set. But the bottom line is there's a lot of it, and the prices can't go up until the supply washes out, and stores are still washing out of Wilderness. I think it has room to decline a little bit further. I think it could decline a little bit. And then similar to Cryptonation second edition, what will eventually happen is the excess that these stores have will eventually get chewed through, and then the prices can sort of recover back to a steady state where you can order from distribution, right? And then you can turn around and sell it and make your dollar per box, your terrible margin that a lot of these retailers are used to getting on non-limited stuff. And yeah, then that'll just kind of continue that way for a long time. But it's going to take time, kids. You don't have to rush to go buy your Wilderness unless you're going to open it. But if you're trying to like make your tendies, this is not a tendies market. You just got to wait it out. Okay, so UFO, small change to UFO. UFO has the same print run as Wilderness, which is 100,000 per SKU, right? So there's not a small amount of UFO, but one difference is that UFO didn't see nearly as much like hyper ordering. Like a lot of stores that ordered way too much of Kryptonation second edition Wilderness, they didn't even order Nightfall because they were like, they didn't have a community, they hadn't been putting on events, they didn't do content, they didn't have a MetaZoo base, and so they weren't able to sell the products, and so they perhaps rightfully did not dive too deep into Nightfall or to UFO. So on the one hand, you know, and UFO is a great set and people love it, right? People love UFO. It was a huge success on the marketplace, success in the card game. The cards look great. The card stock is great. The holos are great. People were happy. UFO is an awesome set. That said, there's a lot of it. But if the retailers didn't order way too much of it, then they don't have to take a big bath on it, right? So like if you think about it this way, if it's available at $70 to $77 a box at distribution, then like if you don't have to sell for a loss, you don't, right? And then if you're not selling it to your local base, you don't order more. And if you are, you order more and you sell it at what you're comfortable to sell at. It's just, it's not under stress, right? And so on the one hand, UFO has the same volume produced as Wilderness, but it's in a little bit of a different circumstances. So I wouldn't be surprised if UFO, although it's not going to go up anywhere anytime soon because there's a lot of volume of it, it's going to stay at like a nice low level. I wouldn't be surprised if it never quite takes the bath that Kryptonation second edition and Wilderness are taking right now. Now, we've talked about, so all of this stuff, all these things are going down. What's not going down? Limited direct-to-consumer sets. Enter the Chibi Valentine set. This was released at, I think it was like $15. These are still selling for $25, $27 a box. I have sold over 5 500 of these little boxes on live streams and on my website. 500 people love the Chibi, and I'm almost out. I have like 50, maybe 60 boxes left, and that's it. And so people love the Chibis. They've been super popular. Again, it's a direct-to-consumer promo item that has not taken a plunge despite the bear market in the core sets. Similarly, this is the Magicast box. So this was the April Fool's box that MetaZoo put out, last spring or so. This was released at $20 was MSRP, and these sell all day at $60. I've just been, I gave out a ton when they first came out to patrons. I sold some at cost, and what I tend to do is I tend to like buy a ton, and then I help out people who missed the limited sale by helping them connect at MSRP or as close to MSRP as I can get without taking a bath on it. And then whatever I have left, party's on, guys, and I start selling it. So those have done really well. Again, they have been totally unaffected by the inflation, recession, and the core set decline prices and all those shenanigans. Another hot item are the Revive skateboard decks. Cryptonation Revive is flying up there in the several hundreds of dollars. Nightfall Revive is still up over 100% from its MSRP of $100. It's over like $200. They're killing it. Those limited items are doing so ridiculously well considering what the rest of the market is doing. And part of this is that I think what you have is the hot money tends to go where the action is, right? And in Cryptonation First Edition, that's all there was. So the hot money sat on Kryptonation First Edition. That's where it went. And by hot money, I mean like deeper pockets that are chasing returns. They want that scarcity. They want that value. Same with the Kickstarter. There was no other option. So that's where it went. But by the time you got to Nightfall, then you had Pin Club, which is interesting. And then later you had Revive, right? You had these promo sets, these specialty sets started to come. And the hot money for a little while was like, where do I go? Then you get to Wilderness, and now you've got direct-to-consumer promo sets. You have the Chibis, you have Magicast, right? You have the fan art blister packs. You've got Pin Club, you've got Revive. You have all this stuff. Then you had the eBay set come up for Wilderness. So now, if you're the hot money, if you're like the big time collector, and you want the ultra premium version of Wilderness, it's not First Edition. First Edition is the most printed product, right? So now you're going to go buy the eBay boxes, which are now selling for like triple, almost triple, 2 to 3 times what they sold for. The MSRP was $50. They're selling for like 125, 140, right? For the eBay Wilderness, because that's the premium Wilderness set. That's the collector's edition, Wilderness set. Unless you want to count Pin Club or whatever, that's what it is. So part of it, is the economic times. Part of it is the print volume, but part of it is First Edition is not the hot money set. So when you look at UFO, is First Edition UFO the hot money set? No, because you have eBay UFO, and the eBay UFO print run is only like 25,000 booster packs. Print run is so astronomically small relative to the First Edition UFO print run that the same thing's going to happen. Like, I'm not saying First Edition is going to go down. I'm just saying, like, if you're the hot money and you're chasing scarcity, you're chasing the return, you're going to go to UFO Revive, UFO Pin Club, UFO eBay. You're going to go to the specialty sets. And this is likely to continue to be this way for quite some time. Effectively, the First Edition, and it is nice. People like the term First Edition. Effectively, the First Edition is just it's the set for the people, right? Which is fantastic for players, for people who want the cards and don't want to throw a whole ton of money into it. You have that First Edition set, and then if you want the novelty, specialty, collector's edition, the secret layers of MetaZoo, if you will, then you have those options, and they are significantly more expensive. So it seems so far, the bottom line is this: if you buy a limited MetaZoo drop, like, they all do well. Pretty much all of them do well, and they sell really well on streams. They're very, very popular. People like them. Someday they will print too much of one and it won't do well, but that day, I don't think that day's happened yet. Everything has done well. Now, what about NFTs? They're kind of an interesting topic. So you have the NFT coins have been taking a bath lately. NFT coins peaked at a value. The cheapest, the floor price for NFT coins are the tokens. These are the things that get you early access to product and guaranteed access to some of the limited drops that MetaZoo does. They get you booster boxes at $100. Fine. NFT coins peaked at about $1,500 at their peak value, right? And now they're down to between 600 and 700 bucks. My bet is that they will continue to decline. And part of the reason is this. I love the coins. I own a ton of them, okay? But part of the reason is the initial hype of the NFT coins was at the time everything was selling out, right, for the core sets. And so what they at their base value, an NFT coin gets you access to the core set at 100 bucks. The problem is the core set on the secondary market is less than 100 bucks, right? Even the NFT sticker boxes are not holding a premium over 100 bucks. So you cannot use your coin. Typically what we've learned now is you cannot use your NFT coin. You can just wait, and then you can buy the product for cheaper later on the secondary market. That's been the pattern so far. And I love the coins. I love the NFT stuff. I do. I don't think they're going to end the world. I think people are being super dramatic and it's ridiculous. Right? I love the NFT stuff. And I'm sorry if I just offended somebody. You can unsubscribe. It doesn't matter. Because in 10 years, you'll be back because the whole world's going to be using some variant of NFTs. And I love you. I'm here to support you. And we can walk this. We can share this adventure. It'll be fun. Anyway, here's the problem. Until the first edition boxes are selling out, then there's not a lot of value in being able to get them for 100 bucks because they're going to be less than that in the secondary market. And maybe longer term, if one of the sticker boxes show, they do hold a premium over non-sticker boxes, but the value isn't there. The value isn't there until the value of the coin drops down more. So once the value of the token drops to a certain level, 300, 400, 500 bucks, you know, maybe we'll start seeing buying coming back in again. It's worth noting too that MetaZoo has actually been putting a ton of value on the tokens outside of just getting booster boxes. They've been getting free promos. They've been getting more free promos. They got a free PFP. Like MetaZoo have been pouring value into the tokens, but their base value, like the guaranteed, the roadmap value, isn't there right now. I do think it'll be valuable someday, but someday could take years to get there. So there's plenty of time to wait and watch the price erode for tokens, most likely. So if you're thinking of picking one up, maybe just wait, let them die in the street a little bit longer, and then get it for a deal. I don't know, several months from now, maybe. And that's the speed read of the MetaZoo Marketplace. Man, lots of stuff, right? So we're in here for like 17 days. I feel like I talked pretty fast because otherwise it would have been like a 6-hour podcast style video. So thanks for coming by. If you're still here somehow and you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing that because we just shared a moment. We just spent a lot of time together, and I feel like something is building here. It's the spring of a new relationship. Come on by, come by again, and that subscribe button is going to get you a little bit closer to that. But that's all I've got for now. Thank you, MetaFam, for stopping by. I always appreciate this opportunity to entertain you fine peoples of MetaZoo. This is Argos, signing out.